already up there, I know you'll be referring to them as you go along. And when you finish speaking 15 minutes, there will be questions from the audience who are listening. We are expecting and we have received lots of people who've joined you. So the airwaves are yours. Please, could we have your presentation? And thank you again.
Thank you so much, Keith, and what a honor and pleasure it is to be here. And Hina, hello. Hina and I partied before, so it's great to hear that she's here as well. Thank you very much for having me here. So I'm going to talk to you about SHIELD. So I'm not a diabetologist. As Keith has mentioned, I'm a consultant psychiatrist specialized in neurodevelopmental psychiatry, treating people with ADHD, autism, and the like. What I want to talk to you is about preventative medicine, because a lot of medicine is about health span and lifespan, and this is how we should really keep it is what can we do to promote our health span? Does anybody know what health span actually is? Just type it out or just shout it out if so. So health span is about how we can keep disease free for as long as possible. And the fact is that we don't focus on health span at all. We focus downstream on symptoms, and that's a big, one of the big problems. How much of medicine budget do you think, spent on prevention? Shout out a number.
5 million.
Sorry? I was thinking about percentages of the total kind of medical budget within the
51%.
How much?
51%.
Right. Okay. Any more takers?
40%.
5%.
40. 40.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's actually 5% spent on prevention.
Oh.
5%. Yeah. So just goes to show a lot of it is about reactive, about how we kind of treat. And that works well. At the end of the day, we have a fabulous system, a system that works really well for a lot of people. But actually, does it really focus on how we prevent our illnesses from developing in the first place, be it diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular illnesses, or neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's as well?
What the dark area?
Sorry? Sorry, I'm not putting mute there. So what I'm talking to you about is 6 different areas in which you can help augment your health span and longevity. Yeah. And this is linked in with diabetes at the end of the day. Yeah. Because whether you're not suffering from the condition, these are things that you can implement into your lifestyle to help augment it and improve your health span, i.e., trying to remain illness-free as long as possible, or trying to mitigate the actual effects or outcomes of that chronic illness as well. So as I mentioned, about 5% of the budget is actually spent on prevention. And you've always heard the term prevention is better than cure. Yeah. And I've always said, and this is, I think, I'm not sure actually who's credited with saying it, but those who don't make time for health must make time for illness. And that's really, really important to remember. If we don't take the time to prevent these things, then these could therefore compound any existing illness or increase the risk of us developing a chronic illness as well. So we'll start with the letter S. Does anybody know what S refers to when we think about lifestyle measures that we need to augment?
Sleep.
Sleep. Sorry. Absolutely. Sleep. We're a sleep-deprived nation. We're globally sleep-deprived. Yeah, we're surrounded by artificial light, so much stimulation, devices, phones, laptops, you name it. We're constantly bombarded by blue light all the time. What does that do? That basically tells our brain that it's daytime, even when it's nighttime. It shuts down melatonin production, the hormone which helps augment sleep. Yeah. And we need to ensure, therefore, that we optimize our sleep, have a regular routine, make sure you go out for at least 25 minutes a day. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're in the garden, preferably you go out for a walk in nature. What does that do to you? Actually, then it tells your brain that actually to differentiate between day or night, helping you kind of embed what's called the circadian rhythm as well. Avoid devices 2 hours before bed. Use blue light filters. Nowadays, devices come with blue light filters as well. These days as well, you can get what are called circadian lighting, where you can, put them into your home, and then they change color throughout the evening, and things turn into a bit of an orange and that side. So actually that helps filter out blue light as well. Cotton sheets and good mattress as well. How often should one change the mattress, do you think?
Couple of years.
Yeah, 6 to 8 years. Yeah. But you'll be astounded how many people actually keep their mattresses for decades, yeah, without changing them. It's really important to change your mattress with 6 and 8 years. Have cotton sheets, have black outlines in your room. Avoid caffeinated drinks for at least 12 hours. Make your last caffeinated drink around midday. Avoid excessive sugar at dinner time. And I know for those who do have diabetes as well, that's something that's of high importance as well. Ensuring good hydration, particularly this time of year as well. Exercise earlier in the day, because if you exercise too late, that can be overstimulating, actually disrupt your sleep cycle at least 2 hours before bed. And alcohol, which can disrupt your sleep cycle. So sleep consists of various cycles, like non-REM and REM sleep that you might have heard of as well. Alcohol can disrupt that flow of those cycles as well. And it's very common that people do report that they feel quite fatigued, even if they have a single alcohol drink and stuff the night before. And H, if we go to the next one, is handling stress. And that, I think, is the foundation, yeah, because this is about emotional well-being. If you can get this right, you can get all the other things into place as well. So yoga, meditation, mindfulness. Seek support if you're having difficulties as well, but review your lifestyle and commitments. That's what's really crucial. Do you need to take on as much as you're taking on as well? That's really important to understand. And I, what does I stand for, do you think? Interaction, connection, yeah, interacting with people, yeah. If you interact with people, then our brains can trigger, neurotransmitter productions such as serotonin, oxytocin. Socializing is actually medicine for the brain and body. Yeah. It might be difficult for some people with particular physical health conditions. However, where possible, if you've got community groups, then we're very sort of blessed in Leicester. There's a lot of voluntary groups that are there, have regular meetups. Get to meet with new people as well, share your learnings, engage in music and the arts. Interaction is really crucial, and obviously that's been compounded through the pandemic as well. So, we're used to much more like this kind of virtual kind of interactions and presentations, which do have their place, absolutely, but there is no substitute for actually meeting face to face. And E, what does E stand for?
Exercise.
Exercise, yes. And I'll say it 3 times because that's what I say. Exercise, exercise, exercise. The most important thing that you could do for your health span and longevity to prolong it as well. It's interesting how it's mandatory in primary, secondary schools, but after that it becomes discretionary, but it's really important for your immune system, your gut, and particularly strength and resistance exercises are really important because your muscles degenerate over time as we age, about 8% per decade after the age of 30. And swimming can be helpful, but it doesn't provide the adequate resistance for preserving muscle mass as well. And you can't sit down for, shouldn't sit down for excessive amounts of time as well. Get out into nature, it produces loads of terpenes, which are strong anti-inflammatories as well. Really, really important. Really important. And L, what does L stand for?
Learning.
Yes, you got it. Yeah. Have you seen this before?
No. No, I haven't.
Very impressed. Very impressed.
Just guessing.
Really, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So learning new things, take up new hobbies. Yeah. It's often felt that actually, we stagnate at a certain time. It was said that actually even in the early 70s and things that are, 60s and 70s, that our brain just doesn't change. But actually our brain is what we call neuroplastic. It changes all the time, depending on our interactions, how we kind of, whether if we're taking on board any new learnings, that can, our brain does produce new cells all the time. And you can do that also by just engaging in new activities and new hobbies as well. So doing something creative, engaging in art and music as well, don't need to be an expert. Often we have this pressure on ourselves that we need to somehow be an expert in things, but actually no, just doing things, even using a non-dominant hand, that meaning that the hand that you don't use normally, you catch a ball and things like that. Doing some great things for your brain and doing that. Doing that volunteering, purchasing groceries for an elderly neighbor, for example, can be really, really beneficial as well. And D, what would D stand for? Very important, particularly when we're talking about diabetes as well.
Diet.
Diet, exactly that. Yes, yeah.
Wow, got it.
Diet brings up a lot of kind of controversies because there's so many fads out there, isn't there? You get all sorts of different diets out there. And, it's obviously important in any of those really to seek advice from your doctor, particularly around this. But what we are exposed to is a lot of processed foods, high glycemic, high starchy foods in our environment. And it's really important to avoid excess sugar, have plenty of fiber, lots of antioxidant containing foods, dark colored foods like blueberries and black beans, and adequate amounts of protein. Particularly in, for example, the South Asian diet, a lot of carbohydrates, but are there as much protein and things that, making sure that you've got adequate amounts of, vitamins and minerals as well, like B12, for example. Alcohol, it's actually neurotoxin. Actually, it's poisonous to the neurons in our brains. And, the health benefits, there's a lot of talk and, that suggests that actually research that said, actually, alcohol can be beneficial, particularly around red wine. But actually, the benefits are related more to socializing, to actually increasing social interaction, rather than the actual any specific benefit related to the alcohol itself. So it's important to know that actually, it is a neurotoxin. I'm no fun, am I, at all? Whole nuts can be really helpful. Foods to boost the gut microbiome. The gut microbiome refers to the whole population of bacteria in your gut. We've got trillions of them around, and they are really important for producing neurotransmitters. Your gut produces serotonin, it produces dopamine, all sorts of really important neurotransmitters. And the gut and the brain, there's a big nerve that connects your gut and the brain. Eating better can make you feel better. That's, you've heard of the term, you are what you eat. And, that's absolutely right. If we don't eat well, we don't feel well, and vice versa as well. And more and more these days, the benefits of calorific restriction and intermittent fasting as well. It's really important to consult with your doctor around that. But actually, calorific restriction, reducing the amount of calories, doing time-restricted eating and intermittent fasting is also linked with improved health span and longevity as well. But as I said, really important to get some advice before actually engaging in those, and avoiding any specific fad diets as well is really important. So, to sum up, there's lots of things you can do to help improve your lifestyle, your chronic condition, your diabetes. What's really important to know is that they're all linked with neuroinflammation, whether it's diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular, or neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. They're all connected at the end of the day. And so what's important to do is reflect and see how can you engage in these different strategies to help improve your health span and longevity. And once you do that, share that with others. That's what's really beneficial, is that when you do this, you get to learn along the way as well. So then you can share, this important information with others too. So I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer them.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Neeraj, for that.